that it? Should be good. All right. All right. We have a VW Jetta, and we're going to be tinting everything with the windshield. The lovely Jetta. People love these cars. For real. No, they don't. They can be a pain in the butt. Main reason why is going to be felt seals, tight seals, tight panels. So how tight it is down here and on the sides. So we're going to start with taping off the felt. This has nothing to do with the film sliding in. All this does is help keep this felt from bleeding into where I'm tinting. What's up, dudes? Wow, it's stuck. There we go. So I take a couple pieces, overlap where it makes sense, just because it's a little bit easier to put in. There we go. Let's make sure our car is on. Roll the window mostly up, and then we can wipe off this edge and do the other doors. Doing good today. Not exactly excited about this one, but I've done plenty of them. I'd rather do a Jetta than the Golfs with the front quarters. So here we are. So when my window comes this high, there's only so much you can actually do for taping. I'm not as concerned about getting all the way up or all the way to the bottom. We're going to two-stage this, and when you do that, where we fold the film tends to rinse stuff back in. So that's where I'm most concerned about. Not so much the lower corners. Those should tuck in easy. So I can still try. Yeah, it's not really wanting to go. That works for me. We'll get a piece here on the side. And another one for good measure. Right about here is fine. The best file for top edges? Honestly, I'm not sure a specific brand, but a like fine bastard cut file is pretty good. And I like these little ones, like these little flat files. These you can fit into tighter top corner areas. All right, let's go do the other side. We got headlights that are on that we need to shut off. I've had that file for a while. Just literally any cheap file set typically has a small flat file. But I don't file most anything. I might shave it off with a blade. And those little files I use in case like a top corner maybe goes over the edge a little bit. And I just need to like, you know, on a rounded corner that I didn't quite get right or something like that. So that's tucked in. Yeah, this right here. They just don't really give you space. Oh my god. Ugh. Shit, dude. That is tight. That's definitely one of the tightest Jettas that I've seen. This is seal guard tape. Tintbot, can you link the seal guard tape? They pop up on my schedule every once in a while. I don't get them super often, but this, Audi, they just like maybe once a month I'll have one of those on my schedule. I need a lot more Malibus. If I could get Malibus all day long, that'd be amazing. So, yeah, if I can't get tape here, it's still worth it to put here. And you'll see when we two-stage it, I'm looking for main areas that are going to get in there. We're also going to have gel that can help. But it's just like an extra measure. It's just to help manage that kind of stuff. So we have some other things that we're going to throw at it too. Wow. How do I... Really? It's so annoying. There we go. All right. So we're going to be doing C2 ceramic on this one. 35 is going on the front. 20 is going on the rear. I have a 36-inch roll of film right now that we're going to split in half. That way we're only using 18 inches of film on each door. I'm going to slice off a piece. And then we need a safety cutter. So I'm going to go right by the trim here. Good place to split it. Have enough on the top, and I tilt it slightly. That always seems to help give me plenty of film for the other half. So we're going to get that lined up. If we use the factory edges, we don't have to make a cut at the bottom. For convenience, I just leave them rather than juggle the film around. But you don't have to. It just means I'm going to have to make one more cut here. So we're going to make a cut there. And then reach into the mirror area and make that cut. See? Now we got our starting point. So when I'm double cutting, I like to do both the film sides are sandwiched on the inside. So regular on the first piece, so tint side facing the glass, and the tint side is facing me right now. So both of these pieces are mirrored. This is kind of a funny one. It's not often you come across a mirror dagger getting in your way. Snapping blades. Snapping blades, they fall in the floor. It's fine. And we're going to slide this over. Now remember, this is a really tight side edge. So I don't want to bring my patterns over a crazy amount. Just enough to cover my gaps here and give me a little bit of margin. So I'm just moving it over enough to cover that. And we're going to make that cut. And then we're going to slide it back. Now for this bottom edge, if you're pulling the seals, yeah, this side's not even as tight. This is normal. The other side is crazy tight. Seals down a little bit, but not crazy. So we're going to pull it down a normal amount for tucking. Nothing insane. But what you can do to make these doors easier is just don't tuck that far. Or pull the seals. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Now we're going to cut the top edge. This is kind of funny. It's hard to notice, but I noticed on the inside, some of these top edges, love you too. Some of these top edges, they're actually not perfectly smooth. So like this arc here, and then it kind of like tapers down a little bit. Almost like the glass got ground down a little funny. Sometimes they just make them that way. And yeah, this one does the same thing. It kind of tapers down a little bit more. So when I double cut this, I'm going to double check this pattern on the other side to make sure that that is the same. Otherwise, I'm going to recut the top edge on the other side. Core has those spot on. So it's just how they do them. That's good. I'm glad they do. Why don't you have a plotter machine? Wouldn't that be easier? I do have a plotter machine. We'll use it for some other stuff on here. I always prefer hand cutting. Doors are the things that I'm always unsure how well that plotter is going to line up. And then you have your patterns there and you can make excuses like, oh, it was close enough on this one. We'll get it on the next one. Some they do really, really well. And some they just don't. But a hand cut, I always know how that's going to turn out. I get to make the pattern exactly how I want. And it's tailor fit every time. But I'm going to be a little bit more picky. I love technology. I've been very cynical about plotters for a long time because a lot of patterns have just let me down. And the time that it takes for me to hand cut them isn't going to be that much longer versus plotter cuts, but I don't know what I'm getting with the plotter until I have it on the glass, and that's what I'm just not sure of. If I knew, hey, if I'm cutting this out on the plotter, it's going to line up perfectly, I wouldn't hand cut at all. What's the point? Plotters are not perfect, but they are very, very helpful and very, very good overall. Try DigiCut? I did. I wasn't a fan. Yep, it's not the actual machine. It's all patterns. But I don't want to get into that all right now. Okay, so we are going to snap shrink these doors, both the passenger and the driver's. To do that, I'm just going to take the corner. I'm going to pick it up. And then I'm going to heat up the bottom, get that to curl. There we go. And we're going to go to the other side. Do the same thing. There we go. And we're done. Check the top edge. Yes, we want to do that still. So we double cut, and I had mentioned that this seemed a little funny. Like this goes nice and smooth, and then it kind of arcs down a bit. So when you double cut from passenger side, it doesn't mean the driver's side is identical. It usually is. It usually is very, very good. Yep, that actually lines up really, really nice. So they just make them that way. It's good to know. All right, now the exciting part. We get to install. So let's grab some stuff for that. A little high. Right about there. This should be good. Cover up the panel. Get that down. And then we're just going to clean off the inside. So I'm going to start with the blade here. Scrape off the lower half. when we were snap shrinking, this is a little bit hard to understand when you're new, but the fingers that you see pop up is caused by getting the entirety of the pattern to try and bunch up and lay flat. So you tack it here, you tack it there, and you force all your excess to be at the bottom, and then you see those fingers. When you're snap shrinking, you don't have to force fingers to show up at the bottom. They often do. But you don't need to see them to shrink the pattern. Nope, blade does not scratch the window. We don't want to scratch the windows. We are scraping over the surface to loosen up anything. If I was scratching the window, we would have a very expensive bill on our hands. So I like to, mask off panels, be really thorough. I don't like to damage people's vehicles like this and then scratch. Like, that doesn't make sense. Yes, we are going to two-stage this one. So first we're going to squeegee off the window. Then we're going to swipe the sides here. And this is ready. Ready to install, minus a little bit of spray. So I'm going to actually open the seal back up and make sure we spray back here. Keep that wet and rinse that. Coat the rest of the window. And I'm going to be a little bit more generous with some gel today, just to give myself enough wiggle room. I don't want my pattern to freeze up any quicker. Can I move this? That kind of works. So we're going to peel this. Go about halfway there, about halfway here, and coat. Be generous. You want a nice even layer of water. If you leave some spots that are not coated, that's going to want to stick very quickly. So we're going to start with tucking in the taller side, which is this back edge here. See, good slip. That's nice. It's even with the pressure there starting to bind up a little bit, but I can wiggle it up and down and get it to slide where I need it to go. Then we're going to pull this back, tuck in this lower part. Same thing. And we're going to make sure that this is lined up. That's good. Tucked there, tucked here. Perfect. No gaps. Hashtag no gaps. Now we're going to lightly... I saw that. Okay, there we go. That's... It was lining up, but it needs to go this way a little bit. Sliding really nice on this window too. That always makes me happy. I would rather have a window slide around for 5 minutes than tack up immediately. Then we're going to take a tri-edge card, Swipe that. Reach in here. Swipe that out. Here's my thinner one. Got this one too. Beautiful. Little wiggle. When I wiggle this, it moves just a bit. That's okay. We want to make sure that this squeegeed nice and firm. We might have to use a little bit of heat. Or we can just sit here and talk for a minute. Yeah, we are uploading clips as we stream. I made a program. There we go. That worked out nice. Now we're going to pull out the liner. Make sure this is rinsed. So you notice this is where that split is. So I taped all in there. I'm less worried about the lower corners getting taped because tucking it for me is a lot more straightforward. Like this corner just slides in and I just don't want to try and pull it back out. But wherever you struggle and fight with the film to get it tucked, you are going to have dirt feeding back in. So the smoother that your installation can be, let the air out of this. The cleaner everything is going to turn out. Because you're not giving dirt an opportunity to feed back in. Anytime you see a finger pop up or the tint bunches up and crunches and you're trying to stuff it and it's moving around and it doesn't seem like it's talking back to you, that's bringing water back in and dirt along with it. That's why you can clean a window 1,000 times and still have a messy install. The amount and how you clean doesn't matter as much as how elegantly you can get the film tucked in. So I'm going to make one more pass. Firm pass, overlapping. That's going to help dry out the window much faster. It's going to avoid pooling. So any little or bigger areas, because there's curve in this glass. So if I didn't press as hard in here and I left a little pool of water, that starts to condense together as the water evaporates, and you can have a water pocket stay for a lot longer than you'd want to. We'll pull the door panel cover, pull out the tape here, and then this is the seal guard tape. See all these little specks here? Each one of those is a little piece of felt, a little felt fiber that'll look like a dirt speck. And so you can just have it littered along the edges of the window. So both the gel, tape, that all helps keep the edges clean. And now we can check how this actually turned out. Is it acceptable? Is it terrible? Did we screw up? Did we do a good job? Those are all things we're about to find out. This all looks really, really good. There's a little piece of tint there. I see this. That always scares me right away, but no, that's pressed out. That's just a little soap on the actual film, little suds. Make sure that this corner is all pressed out, and down here Yep, that's just some suds sitting along the bottom on the inside here. See how that hard to reach down there? This window looks good. It passes. Now we have to do it 3 more times. And then we got these windows, and then we got this window, and then we got the windshield. But that's all for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll do one window at a time until we get to the end of the week. Ooh. So this is 35. That's what went on the front doors. We're going to grab a roll of 20. Over there. Cross your fingers that we ordered all the right rolls. Oh, I see it. I see it. Yes. C2 ceramic 20, opening a new roll. Detailing? No, we just window tint. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, this has been my dream shop setup. It was fun to put together. A lot of work, but very happy with it. That is slippery. Slippery roll. Glass replacement? No, I just tint windows. I've done glass replacement. It was one of the early jobs that I had. I did probably about 20 to 30 doors / windshields. All right, 20% is going on the back. I could take a shorter roll and make this a little bit easier to handle. This is a very slippery roll of ceramic right now. 100 feet. It was a little loose coming out of the box. Now it's better. What program does your clips automatically? It's one that I made and still working on it. It's this whole thing that's showing chat, preview, stream, and everything. Is it doing a good job today? All right, so we're gonna double cut this rear door, and we are gonna do it in the same way that we did the driver's door. I took a 36-inch roll of film, so that's only 18 inches of film per car. So if you're nickel and diming your film, you're saving some by cutting your doors out in a 36. We're gonna make a cut here. The film side is facing me right now, so we want to be careful not to do anything to scratch this. Cut off that bottom edge, and then I'm just going to cut off some excess, especially from plastic and painted surfaces. Leaving the film to kind of do this keeps it from sticking when we roll the window down. We're going to take a stainless blade, snap off the end, use just the very tip here. I'm going to make one cut against the side seal, not on the side seal, so then we don't damage it. Since we tacked it, we're going to loosen it up, slide it over about this far, right about there. We're going to jump to this side. We're going to do the exact same thing. Going to cut just this little baby edge here. because that's our side edge. Our top edge is this and that. Slide it back over. So we have a little overlap on both sides. Then we're going to drag our pattern down just a bit. Now, how far depends on what the inside seal is doing. Not super tight on this rear door. Pretty standard. And it's a little bit farther down than this. So we're going to go just a little bit farther down. Spray. Tack. So that doesn't move. That's locked in place for when we cut this top edge. Roll down our window. Grab our top edge knife. And I'm going to make one cut up. Tear that away. And then I'm going to go inwards from this way. So that way, see those? They match up perfectly. Nice and pointy corner. Now we can take it over to the glass board and wrap this pattern up. Heat gun activates the film? No, heat guns shrink the film. It does nothing to do with activating anything. Your tint comes pre-activated. And grab a ruler for the rest of this. Straight. Snap off that blade, it's getting a little dull. There we go. Squeegees activate the tint. Glue? No, not really. And then we're just going to round that little corner there. Just a little bit. So cool. We got 2 patterns for the time of 1. So I'm going to separate these patterns. Ta-da! So this one, it goes to the other side. It's mirrored. This one stays on this side. I can show you guys that are new to Tint. There's nothing about any of the tools that activates anything. Tint is how it's going to be. It's not going to get darker. It's not going to get lighter. This is how it's going to look. It looks the same on both sides. Doesn't matter which way that you face it. But when I peel it, we have 2 major parts that you interact with. You have the clear liner. This is the sticker backing. We have the glue tint part. So this is what sticks to the window. And this is always activated, ready to go. The soaps that we use and the water that we use allows us to slide the film around and get it placed where we need to. And then we squeegee out some water, but then we just let it dry. There's nothing magical about the solutions that we're using other than the water is very clean. The slope is very clean. all the gels and extra door covers and nonsense that we throw in here. It's just additive measures to help keep panels dry, interior safe. In its simplest form, it's just soapy water, squeegees, and tint and knives, and you're cutting it to size, you're shaping it to fit the window. So right now, we're going to heat the bottom of the film here. We get it to curl inwards. And now that has the same curve as the rest of the window, so then fingers aren't going to pop up when I go to install it. So on this door, what most of you guys see is going to be a shrinking method like this. We're going to squeegee down. We're going to push so we get some fingers to pop up. Lightly tack out some water and grab a shrinking card and a heat gun. Let the heat gun warm up, and then you individually shrink fingers because the door windows are not that curved. And this is a very simplistic visual way, a great starter way of shrinking doors. But this takes longer to do. When we teach people, this is what we show them first. It's such a good way to understand what you're trying to accomplish. To take this one step further, after we do that, we lift the pattern, let a little bit of air under it, and all these little, see those wobbly shrink lines? We put some air under the film, and we can take a heat gun and get that to tighten up a little bit more. And that's shrunk. That's ready to install. So you see how I just like let some air under it, and then it's now more pulled flat. So when I shrink or snap shrink, I'm literally just doing this. I'm picking the film up, I'm hitting it with a heat gun, and I'm getting it to do this exact same thing. It's just got a little bit of a different pattern to it. It might go on the inside. Hang tight. We typically put it there. We might leave a window on the outside one day. Why are you laying the tint on the outside? It's driving me nuts. It was just to make you crazy, that's all. So we're going to... Wow, I wish that went a little better. We're going to chop off a door cover. Make sure that that's tacked down. And we need to clean... the window. So we're going to take a 1-inch razor blade. We're going to glide it. I say scrape. I should say glide. See, scraping's such a harsh word. We're going to glide it over the surface. That's going to loosen anything out that might be there. It's a very clean car. You're usually good on clean cars with just a scrubby pad. So something like this often works well enough. Scrubby pads are pretty thorough. The only thing I don't like about a scrubby is I can't feel if there's something that's still on the glass that just is very stuck. If I see it, I know to scrub more there until it comes off. But there's so much suds, it makes you feel like the window's cleaner than it actually is in some cases. So for me, a blade, I can actually feel the surface of the window. And so I know if I hit something. That's why I tend to go for a blade instead of a scrub pad. Then we want to make sure that tap edge is nice and wiped off. Now we're going to clean it. Squeegee, squeegee, squeegee. Then we're going to swipe the sides. The rear doors are not as tight as the front. Ooh, here it is. And then I'm still going to hit this one with a little gel. Have you ever scratched glass? Definitely. I've scratched glass. I've broken a couple windshields. I've broken a back window. All of it is doing things stupidly. Let's peel this. So we're halfway here, right? Right around there. Just, it doesn't matter if you go a little lower, a little higher. You just want to give yourself some space here. And then we're roughly halfway in between here. You can go a little lower if you got room. Keep it nice and flat. That liner across is nice and flat. And then we're going to start with the tallest side. Get this on the window. Then we're going to take the tint portion, flatten it out, not push super hard, just enough to kind of flatten it out so then we can coast it into our seal. See, look at that gap. That's how far I got it to go in the seal there so far. Now we're going to take this, we're going to pull it back, do the same thing with the film, flatten it out, and push it back where it needs to go. We're going to line up this edge. It looks very nice. Nice and uniform all the way across. I like that. Looks really good. Squeegee out some water. And then we're going to take a tri-edge card and swipe. And swipe. And I still probably have a little bit of slide. Actually, no. That's pretty stuck. I like to go over it twice. First time is either with a light squeegee or softer passes. And we start pressing a little bit harder. And then we just go over it more thoroughly to make sure it's tacked. And I'm more focused about getting extra water out. Now we're going to roll this up. Perfect. Now we need to rinse off the bottom because we are going to pull out this liner. Now, as we pull this liner out, the tint at the bottom is dry. But I'm paranoid of something getting onto it. So I rinse it, then I pull it, and then I'm just a little bit more thorough with some extra spray to wet the adhesive. We're going to tuck one corner. Starts bunching up on the seal a little bit. This corner goes in, and then, oh, we're stuck. What do? We take this, we pick it up. We get it to go past the seal. This panel comes very close. So anywhere, see this? See that little guy? Anywhere that kind of bunches out is why this doesn't tuck into the bottom. So when we're trying to tuck really far, that makes it near impossible because you can't flatten it out enough to get past the seal. There's always something that's like it's bunching way out, it's crunching in. It just makes it really, really difficult to try and tuck. So if you cut your patterns a little bit shorter, so they still tuck into the seal, you hide any gaps, but you're not going far, then it's much easier to tuck your your two stagey doors. Minimize any headaches. Doesn't make it simple, but especially when a window is super tight, you want to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room there. So we're going to pull the tape out. We're going to check it over, clean it off. Do you have to shrink pre-cut tint? Yes, absolutely. All a pre-cut kit does is give you the shape. So hand cutting versus a plotter, all things being equal, those are the exact same things. And then the next steps come after. So you still have to shrink it, get it to form to fit the glass. That's the whole point of shrinking. A plotter just takes the flat roll and gives you a pattern. Gonna heat this side up a little bit more. A little bit more. We're gonna let that cook for a minute. We're gonna let this side cook. I see a little finger right here. Little line right there. Gone. So, where we folded the film, it's definitely not uncommon to have little fingers that you just have to heat up and push the air out. I'm not immune to it. I've just never had to redo a window because of them. Like, you could have a severe crease that, like, you can look at and go, like, oh, like, that's still obvious there's a line there. That's not good. But any small finger, crinkle, that the air can be pushed out and it's tucked into the seal. You just can't see anything. All right. So we're going to go over to this side. Oh, I got my keg. Does this fit here? Put it right there. OptiGlide sent over a keg. Oh, I gotta air it up. This is going to be specifically for gel. That's why it's got a spout on it. So I can use it to fill up the smaller spray bottles. And you put a hose on it. So we're going to wait. It should any time now. Oh, I feel it. Maybe more air pressure. Oh, I hear some hissing. Oh. But I'm thinking this stuff is gonna be too. See all that down there? I'm thinking this is gonna be too thick to use as a sprayer, but it will work as a dispenser. Maybe I can do light sprays here. We'll see. Do you like OptiGlide or Fusion All-Type? Those are completely different product categories. So the gels are not a replacement for slip solution. Tintbot, can you link the OptiGlide in chat, please? I shot it prematurely. There's a link right there. All right, let's continue tinting. It's got 90 psi in it right now. So I'll bring it over to the window and we'll see. I'm gonna leave it right there for now. So what do we gotta do? We gotta cover the panel. Door window's been shrunk already. Yeah, Fusion All-Type is a slip solution. So the gels are not slip solution replacements. They are assistants. So you could have one, like OptiGlide has slidiness to it. You can use it, but I would only use it for the installation portion. You're still gonna want to use a soapy water to clean off the glass, squeegee that away, because it's just going to be really messy to try and clean everything with gel and then use the gel. So the gel is just installation assistant. And then I need a towel. Dawn has degreasers in it. Wouldn't recommend anything with degreasers. There's still a lot of tinters that use Dawn. But if you're going to go to a store and just buy a soap, a baby shampoo is going to be safer because it's a very mild soap. There's nothing in it that's going to break down the adhesives. So that's the concern with using something like Dawn. If you get a temperature-controlled heat gun, you set it to 185 Fahrenheit, it will only shrink the film so far, so you don't have to worry about shrinking the film farther. Car can only get to 195 maximum. No, that's just a wild misunderstanding of what you're doing there. So, think of tint like cooking on a pan. You set your temperature to hot. Maybe medium, maybe high, doesn't really matter. You can still burn your food. Tint also is going to fry much quicker than anything about the glass that you're working on. So you're not the tint is heating up and cooling down so much faster. So when you're shrinking on the actual window itself, you're not cooking the glass really all that much. It can get hot, but glass can get much hotter than the tint ever can. So your heat gun's going to be much hotter than 200 degrees. It needs to be. And because it is, you're not immediately damaging the car just because the glass is getting hot. Tint is very thin plastic, right? If you put the glass side by side against tint, which one do you think is going to be able to take more heat? All right. I don't know if this is... Oh, I guess we are going to have to do this. Take one or two loops out of here. That did work. That did work. Oops. See, that's where it's probably like it takes too long for it to go through the hose, and then it gets a little. It doesn't. It needs to be watered down. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that's OptiGlide Plus in there. I never thought I'd have to ask the question, how thick until too thick for spraying out of a tint keg, but we're finding out today. So we're going to take this onto the glass. We're going to pull this part back and get this corner to go in. OptiGlide that into the seal there. We definitely, I'd say, have enough on this one, that's for sure. Yep, that looks really nice. Got two blue hoses here. That's not going to get confusing. At least one's got a plastic sprayer, though. Unless I change it for a brass sprayer. Then I'm going to go spray slip solution, and I'm going to get gel. Zoop. And then zoop. Right like that. Looks good. A heat gun that'll go to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. It'll shrink the film way too much and make it no good. Again, so will your like cooking pan. What? Somebody in chat who's smarter than me. What temperature is like medium on a steak? And from what I've seen, people put it directly over fire, and fire is very hot. There isn't a set temperature to this point that's much lower. Like, that's a fucking hairdryer. I go over my film 8 to 10 inches away with 190 degree heat. Does it take you like 45 minutes to shrink a window? Ooh, that is tight. Fun. Ooh, we got it though. Thank you, chat. I appreciate you. 200 to 225, 130. Oh, 135 is medium. Yeah. So the heat that's getting applied to the steak is hotter than 135 degrees. I mean, for the sake of time. I suppose, what? You cook it sous vide and just leave it 135 in a bath, but that takes a lot longer to cook through. Is that the case? So just using more heat just helps get the job done efficiently. And it doesn't hurt the film to use more heat as long as you're careful about not letting that heat sit in any one spot for very long. But it's just a kind of a funny discussion because I've never had anybody come in here and ever say that. That's the first. I just was surprised when people told me that they were pulling windows out of cars to tint them. Just when I think I thought I heard of everything, there's something else. Ask TintBot. Ooh, I wonder what TintBot's gonna say. TintBot, what's medium on a steak? What temperature is that? I don't think it knows that. Oh wow, it actually ignored it. Good. TintBot, can you link OptiGlide in chat, please? Make sure it's not broken now. Hey, look at that! Smart-ass TintBot today. We're gonna have to reprogram them to start talking about steaks now. All right. This looks good. Who tinted this window? Was that me? Did I do that one? I'm proud of that one. Okay. Door panel on this one. Adjustable tint, you don't have to worry about the police. Just turn it down. You know, there's also this great invention. It's called windows that roll down. You see a cop, you just roll your windows down. They don't know. Roll your windows up. No, those are broken. They'll write you some bullshit ticket anyways. They don't care. Good? Is everything gooding? All right, what's it been doing today? Let's go take a look-see real quick. Whoa! It says now. Look at this. This is all the videos that it made so far. Look, see, I made a whole ass program. We got all these videos in queue. I can see the statuses of them. I don't think this should be sitting here like this. I feel like it's like it's stuck. But that's fine. That's fine for right now. We'll see. What's the video? You can clean 1,000 times. Sounds like a fantastic video. Good stuff. Juniper windshield. The newer Model Ys, if anything, they're the same curve. The mirror housing's a little different. If anything, they made it a little bit easier because now the front edge of that camera system has a nice border around the front edge. So you don't have to make that cut like perfect. Everything else is the same. All right, we have a rear door on this Jetta that we have to tint. Last one. Last door before we got more windows to do. Not looking forward to the back window, but this door window is fine. So we are going to take this squeegee, clean that off, swipe the sides, and then I'm going to grab spray that. Got some gel on there. Peel the film. Get the liner to go straight across. A little farther than halfway on this one, it's fine. A little lower than halfway on this one. Whenever you have room, just make sure the liner's straight. So we're gonna get this up on the glass here. Wow. Okay, there we go. Now it's sliding. Slide this into my seal. Then we're gonna get this top edge close, pull this back, push this into the back edge here. Make sure that this lines up nice and close. That's pretty. Very pretty. Fine tune it. Push it a little bit closer. Push harder so then it really starts to tack. The OptiGlide is just the, on the site is just the gallon jug of it. Peel that, and we're gonna spray, rinse, and wet the adhesive all together. Tuck this corner in. Go to this other side, tuck this corner in. We're gonna push this up over the door sill here, right above the seal. See, we wanna get it past first. And then we can pull the seal back and look for any spots that want to bind. And focus on those. Make sure they're loose and slidey. And there we go. We're good. Hooray! Wipe that off. We're going to pull out the tape on the seals. That's why I keep it there. Da, 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 da. And we're going to wipe it off and check it over. Little pinch right there. We'll probably need to put some heat on that. See that little finger right there? That side looks good. I ordered adjustable tint. I'm waiting for it to arrive. I think it came from the UK. Cool, very cool. I've seen a lot more around that lately. So there's PLDC, or like, I think maybe the category is electric chromic, and then there's a few different types. PLDC is what's been around for a long time. Those windows over there are frosted, not with electric tint, but that's the effect that you get. You can have a dark frost or just a light white frost. And it goes from see-through to opaque. But it seems like there's some companies that are trying to work on something that's more clear, so you can get those adjustable tint levels, which would be really cool. Does your dad have beef with you since you have a shop? No. No, I still see him very regularly. He likes what we have going on here. It's very different from what he's doing over there. He's still big shop, high volume, lots of cars, more traditional auto accessory and tint shop. I'm more boutique-y, and I've always liked the idea of teaching more. We have a tool store. I've always leaned more in that direction, and it was never, it's not high volume oriented. Take too long on one car. Hey, look at how thick that shit is. A diss track. His real location's Sterling. He's not in Detroit. He's a Metro. It's Metro Detroit. Okay, and in my defense, there's so many companies that are Detroit Wing Company, Detroit Pizza Company, Detroit this, Detroit that. They're not in Detroit. You'll find that's the case with a lot of businesses. It makes it searchable. That's the whole reason I did it in the first place. Although having that as the main name is beneficial in the beginning, just to make it more searchable and like, oh, where is he from? Because there's lots of people that watch these videos that are not in Michigan. So they just kind of like, oh yeah, I know where about that is. I've been working on shrinking the back window, but every damn time I end up with a line or crease. What am I doing wrong? We are going to talk about what you're doing wrong once I get this all set. So, first thing that we did to prep this, we squeegeed the entire window off. I put cut guard around the window. That's for when we go to trim the pattern. We're going to be shrinking with C2 ceramic. Shrinks just like C2 carbon does. Lines and creases are often from not shrinking the film enough or pushing hard enough. And so we're going to try and point a couple things out that's hopefully going to make it a little bit easier to understand. Let's get a piece of film on here. I should have had my knife ready. Nothing like holding a slippery ass heavy roll like that. Back in the box you go. All right, so we got a piece of film on the back window. I'm going to level it. So I'm just looking at the top corners. Just want to make sure they're about in the same position. It's not tacked right now. Underneath we have dryer sheet. Snuggles in particular, this is going to let this float and move around until I tack it. So see how it's not moving where I tacked it? So at any point, I can lift it up, and then it'll start to wiggle again. That's why we like dryer sheet, soap bar, dry shrink prep. There's a lot of products that are going to give you the same thing. So we need to organize our pattern first. So tack it in the middle just to hold it, and then we're going to trim it shy of this stuff, anywhere that raises up. You're going to go about an inch outside that white line, and then you got to cut it short of any raised surfaces. So the pillar here, the trunk lid, it's going to get cut shy. Right, like that. And so it's still wider than all the edges. That's good. But you see this ripple here? That's not good. We don't just want to tack it here and leave this ripple. We have to lift up, go to where we tacked in the center, tighten this up, and just tack it down flat. So it's perfectly flat from end to end. That's going to be our separating point between the top and bottom. Now we have fingers on the side. Those can simply be directed upwards and directed downwards from our center line. Lightly tack. Do that on both sides. This is just organizing it into sections. So we're going to shrink in quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't matter which order you go. But the reason that you get creases is often because you're just not patient enough with the film. You got to let it shrink. So we have the heat gun set to high. I'm speeding this along because I want to have like a clear illustration of what's okay to push and what's not okay. So these ripples are exactly what I'm looking for. They're just light little ocean wave style ripples. And then we have all this film that still needs to be shrunk, but you can see a clear break line right here. So you can see everything that you shrunk and where you didn't shrunk. And so what a lot of people do is they take this, they put the card down, and then they just go all the way down. I didn't shrink this yet. I can't organize it. Just push these little waves up to as far as you shrunk, and then that's it. Next portion that we have to shrink is going to be here. Heat gun, 45-degree angle. Watch the film shrink. It's good to go in like 4-inch little stretches here at a time so you can see some waves. You just go with your card, push them forward. Now another part that people kind of get wrong is they're too scared of creasing the film, so they push really light with their card. The problem with doing that is you're not really pushing the film forward. You're not getting it to stretch out flat. What you're doing is you're getting some of these areas to tack, but wherever there's a little resistance, you're going to skip right over it. So like this ripple, for example, if I skip over it and I push down here, and I still see this ripple, and then I'm going to start pushing kind of like over it, and what that does is it tacks this, and it tacks this, but it leaves this loose. And then next thing you know, you start coming across it, and then you try and push it sideways and out of the way, and then you crease it. You're like, why aren't those waves going away? When you see the waves, press firmly with your card and just push forward. This is still released off the glass. So I'm not concerned with creasing it. Creases come from pushing up areas and getting these spikes to form, and I haven't shrunk into this area at all. These spikes are like spikes, fingers, whatever you want to call them. Those are all areas that need to be shrunk more. So a few simple rules to shrinking is we don't shrink out the sides, so I'm never pointing the heat gun right on the side edge. I'm always making sure everything on the sides are flat. It's flat here. And we take the loose film, we shrink it till we start seeing these little ocean waves. And if I have these spikes, like all up here, I need to shrink farther. But if I only push them up to where I shrunk, everything's going to be okay. If I continue to card up here, they're going to start screaming at me. They're going to get really spiky and sharp, and there's going to be a lot higher or a for sure chance that you are going to crease that. Film needs to be shrunk before it's carded forward, and once it's shrunk, it can be carded forward very hard. You don't need to push incredibly hard, but you do need to be pretty direct about it. You ever see people shrink with a torch? Yep, shrinking with a torch is cool. It's just more heat. You need to change out a battery. I'm gonna forget that in 5 seconds. Torches are cool. I saw a cool video with a wide IR lamp. Any heat source, as long as it's hot enough, can get the film to shrink. And this is what you want it to look like. These nice, gentle waves. Because if they're not very sharp, and they're just kind of loose here, I don't have to put a lot of pressure to get this to card forward. So what does that really mean is when the film is on the inside of the window, I don't have to push very hard with my squeegee to get the film to fan out and lay flat. This is all a representation of how it's going to lay on the inside. So if I have creases and bunched up spots, those aren't magically going to iron themselves out. Film doesn't do that. Well, tint doesn't do that. Vinyl can kind of do that, but vinyl is very different from tint. Tint's like a big piece of tape. It doesn't matter if you start in the middle or on the outside. You're doing the same thing, but I would look at it like you're going in a row. Like a 4 to 6 inch row when you're new. So like here, 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 just little by little, because you don't need to shrink a very large portion. You just need to know exactly what you're looking for. So I got this little bit. That looks perfect. I'm going to take that 4-inch little section. I'm going to card this up. I'm going to look at what I have to do next, which is this. I'm going to take the heat gun. I'm just going to do that. Just take little section by little section and work your way up. See? Just this little bit right here. I don't care about all this right now. I just did this. Boom. That's a win. Now we're going to do this next little bit. Sometimes the outer section gets tension. So there is, with top corners, you need to watch the direction that the waves need to be pushed. Most of the time that's straight up, but out the edges, you're going to look at the direction of that wave. You're going to match your card up with the angle and push it that way. So when you get to the sides here, these ones, they're now angled like this a little bit. Sometimes you see it swoop like this. Just push it right out the sides. See that? And that's going to go right out the side. Because what we're actually doing after the film is shrunk is we're pulling it tight on the glass. So let me just lift this up, lay it back down. No, it's too even. Show me, damn it. Show me some ripples. There. We got tension here. So if I were to not use a card at all and I needed to get this to lay flat, I'm going to grab it here, I'm going to grab it here, and I'm going to pull it. You see how that glass is out? That part's very much like vinyl. You get all those ripples, you pull on it, those flatten out and go away. So letting it all relax and doing this with a little 4-inch card can be a little sketchy. Like we're literally trying to get this to just tack flat over the window so I can see what I have to shrink next. You could take a wider card, a different tool. The tint brush, whatever you want to use, and you're doing this. Tint brush is actually super good for this. Let's grab it. Because this is more gentle and it's very wide. See that? Now this here, that's what you're trying to do. And anywhere that doesn't lay flat, we're going to have to address in some way. It might need a little bit more heat. That's generally what that means. Or maybe there's way too much tension and we overshrunk it. But all you're doing is getting the film to lay flat over the glass so you can check it. All right, now I'm going to trim this on my white line. I don't have a lot of space on the edges, so I'm thinking about that while I'm trimming this. I'm going to go a little bit more on the inside of this white line because they just don't have much margin. But as long as I'm on the white line, I know I'm outside those dots. Holy shit. My guy. TTO. See? I told you. I'll forget in 5 seconds. I don't know how. It's so bad. I'm like, it's gonna die. I could write a program for that. Like, this actually has like a 10% warning, which is amazing. But like, if I verbally say my battery's gonna die, I could have the screen then like pick that up and start glowing red. I may need to do that. Oops. I hit record. How do I stop that? Okay, cool. All right, battery's changed. Thank you so much. Thanks for explaining. I think I pushed further than where I heat, and I might not have pushed hard enough. And also, when you keep the heat gun farther back and you're slower to shrink, the glass actually heats up more and causes the dryer sheet to be a little bit more sticky. So then you like half push, the glass is hot, and everything then starts to bind up a little bit more. So when you're shrinking the outer portions, it's okay to go slower, but feel the glass, and if it just is like, oh, that's like super hot, then just give it some time to cool back down. You can go shrink a different area, come back to it. It'll help with it feeling like less sticky. Oh wait, I trimmed this. What am I doing? I was about ready to trim this again. Or did I not trim the whole thing? I didn't trim the whole thing. Battery. That's what it was. Folgers. No. No, I have pike roast. I do it on a... I'm happy. I can drink just like black coffee in the morning again. It's good. I was on a tea thing for a little while. I was doing too many cappuccinos in a day. So we backed off on cappuccinos in the morning. And I'm just doing black coffee with nothing in it. with a French press. And I would like to maybe find another coffee for that. Pike roast is really good in our espresso machine. We got that sucker dialed in. But on the French press, I feel like we could try something different. There we go. That's all trimmed. So now we're going to peel off the tape. Do you charge more for BMW and Mercedes? I should. Mercedes is actually pretty average, but they get lumped in there. Mercedes, a lot of them are very much like they're a lot easier overall. Your VWs, your Audis, and some BMWs. Like if it's just a 3 Series, they're very straightforward. But it's like the uppity tiers. It's just some of them. Again, not all of them. But anyways, I generally don't, because we charge more. So I just charge a lot anyways. So I just like whatever I get, I kind of put in the same bucket unless it's going to take like well outside of a normal time frame. Or I'd be more inclined to just limit it to like the ceramic choices and take away like our budget option for something like this. I think is probably like the better thing to do. So I'm not charging them more for a better film, but I'd like to make a little bit more off of them because this is obviously going to take somewhat longer than a Malibu. If a shop is open till 5, what would be a good time to walk in and ask if they're hiring? I'm thinking like you walking in here. For us, if you walked in like early, so like it's a calm morning and we don't have any customers yet, like that's a good time. End of the day is like you're trying to do other stuff. Middle of the day is like you're trying to do other stuff. But some people have really busy early mornings. Maybe you can call or just walk in and say like, hey, if this isn't a good time, when would be a good time to come back and talk to you? Then they get to meet you, and then you're not trying to like, you know, they're like, oh, it was really nice for doing that. Because they might be able to talk to you right then and there. All right, I'm going to come prepared on the inside of this one. I did already clean the inside of this before we went live. It looked pretty smeary, but I didn't clean the inside of the windshield. Trying to clean the inside of this with a camera is annoying, but that's like one of the biggest drop-off points. Like, it gets boring. It's hard to see and it gets boring. So I have everything mostly ready to go. We're going to spray it, sweep it off a couple times. The pink and orange spatulas are just like these, except not as good. Same shape, same thickness, but they're stiffer paddles. This is the original Bulldozer. I like this the best. I've tried both of them. They're okay. The pink one's a little bit softer. Orange one is like way too hard in my opinion. The white ones I think is a good balance. The bulldozer is still kind of a mystery. I don't know where it gets made. I don't know who makes it. I don't think it's China, though. And the supplier that I order it from, they've been around for a very long time, and I don't know if they would openly say where they order it from either. Somebody knows. But it was kind of like the Blue Max for a long time. It's just like somebody gets them made and somebody stocks them, and then you order from the main distributor that stocks them. And then we source everything else either directly from the companies that produce it, or we have our own stuff made too. All right. I'm gonna be extremely thorough about this one. All right, we should be good. Barbecue spatula. I like that too. That'd be a good alternative name for it. Bulldozer's been like one of the longest running tools. It's just always been a thing since I've been tinting. Alright, I'm gonna Frankenstein this one. That means I'm going to peel the entire liner off. We're gonna pick it off the glass, and I'm going to stretch up my arms like Frankenstein. I didn't name that. That's just zombie Frankenstein. Most people call it Frankenstein. So we're gonna pick it off the window, toss it in the air, touch it with my arms out, and then get it to go straight. See how that's perfectly straight now? And then we're gonna Millennium Falcon this bitch. These headrests, they do not remove, so I have to go flat over them. That's the Millennium Falcon part. Right like that. Right like that. We don't want to touch the headliner. Fly back here. The lower you can get the film, the easier it's going to get to place. So we want to get this bottom edge nice and flat, and we can start pulling it down the window with our fingertips, and then we get some film to go up then we go down past the brake light. I don't reverse roll it because I learned this first. Back windows are far easier for me to get in place like this. I don't have to try and pinch a roll all the way down there and unroll it. Everything's already fanned out, making it far easier to just get past brake lights, tuck into tighter deck lids, and then you clear the headliner, and you can just shift it back and forth until everything is all in place. But that was far easier once it's past a certain point. Like once you're on the glass and you're going down, it's far easier, and I just want to make sure I'm not tucked too far down. This ripple's concerning. I want everything to seem flat. I don't need it to pinch up anywhere. Dude, Tint terminology really is so silly. Tinters are so unoriginal in their naming. Okay, let me get both of these. And like I was introduced into tinting with a lot of those terms like fingers, Frankenstein, reverse roll, like that's just what they were called. People ask if I use the tint brush, if I like the tint brush. I think the tint brush is awesome. The one place that I find it falls shy is here. See the thickness of the brush? I cannot get down there. So we have one of these. I can get right past the brake light. I can get all the way down there and completely swipe that. Other than that, tint brush is fantastic. We're squeegeeing one-handed right now. Get the camera in the other hand. But this lower part, I can get farther down, and then there's just going to be a point. I'm going to have to grab a bulldozer for the rest of this. Bulldozer, tail fin, slim slam, stroke doctor. Like some of these are going to give me up to it. So like I can get up to that hard part. This is why we like the bulldozer. Bulldozer, just like this, the slim sweep thing, spatula that I just used, I can reach completely down. Need two hands in here though. So I push, try and go down as far as I can. Push hard. All right. I got the very, very corners still left. This, and hopefully that's it. We're gonna dust this off and check it out. And we're gonna see if I can find my scrubby. Aha! Yes, I can show how the tail fin is used. I would have just tail finned it. I hope everything is fine. And then I can not rush for this end part. Where back windows like this have a little bit of water to push out there. Some of these get really tricky because on like a hot day, your slip solution wants to dry out faster. So I don't have as much push time, and then you can, you know, not push quite hard enough, and then you get a little trail of water, and then there's an air pocket there, and you're like, shit. You see it too late, back window's already tacking up, you're sweaty, the car is stuffy. But good. Everything looks nice and smooth. And then I got just a little bit of water right there. Everything looks good. And oh, I hit most of this. So this is already good. See this line here? That's not a scratch, thankfully. That's the tape. so nice. Okay, so let's push this out first. This is just a simple little, we didn't put the squeegee far enough in the corner. So that's pushed. Now, a tail fin, I'm gonna hit both corners with it. That's what this is. Tail fin is really nice because it's very squishy. And I use it for very few situations. If the deck lid is super tight or the front edge of a windshield, it's hard to get a squeegee pushing all the way down into an edge. This will do that. It'll go all the way into the edge, and it uses, like, it's compressed against the dash, and that's actually better for squeegeeing it because the edge of this is like, it's not as great of an actual squeegee blade, but it works really well in these situations, so I'll show you. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna shove it into the lower corner, and we can just get it in there and sweep, and it'll pull straight out. Whoa! Fuck yeah! It's the best. So otherwise, see, take it, shove it down there, and sweep it. It just doesn't get stuck. It's amazing. My arms get stuck. So the bulldozer does a really good job for most of it, but these corners are where it can start to pinch up because this is flat and wide, and that corner down there is really curved. So you just don't have the same flexibility. You're way more likely to get a bulldozer stuck here. Tail fin's perfect for that, like, last swipe against a very tight edge. Tintbot, can you link the tail fin in chat, please? Good stuff. All right, I'm gonna wipe some of this down. Bulldozer gets stuck, that's why I bought the Slim Sweep. So the Slim Sweep doesn't have the pressure. So every video of me using it is a first pass to squeegee everything flat, push out a lot of the air, but it still leaves water behind. So it does a really good job getting you close to the end. And then I just like to push out as much water as I can. And so the Slim Sweep's a soft pass. You make it look easy. I'm glad today. It's not every day. But today we're doing okay. But that's when shit's gonna kick me in the ass because we got a full windshield to do as well. But I got to take care of these quarter windows first. Yeah, so the Slim Sweep, we use exactly the same as a tint brush. But a tint brush is super nice because it does the same type of thing and it's more bristly. So I've seen it used for paint protection film. You got more room to go around these like sharp edges and stuff and just like smooth out your PPF before you tack it down. Helps a lot. Good stuff. I just wish it was thinner. It's too bulky at the ends. So like for the vast majority of it and some back windows and windshields, it'll do great, but Slim Sweep is just, it's slimmer. It's sweepier. Why is my speed at 20? I'd like to figure that out. All right, let's trim this off. Oh, my God. No. What the hell, man? Okay, so these quarter windows, you can't cut this. Not on the outside anyways. You could, albeit it's going to be much harder. You can trace out a pattern on the inside, but this is where VW and Audi do stuff that I just don't understand. See, they know where their window is. And see this panel? They like taper it inwards. Why do they do that? Why don't they just like have it roll? They make it like, so you have to like taco the film, slide it past, and then expand it. Because they do that around the entire thing. So maybe because you're sitting here and they just wanted a nice sharp angle for your viewing. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But it makes it harder to try and trace out in here because you got to take something and shove it in there and then get your pattern. But you could get it on the inside, or you just buy a plotter. So that's what we did today. We're just going to use a plotter. 36-inch roll. Yeah. I'll just leave it where it's at. That's fine. That's fine. Do we even copy, bro? This one. Nah, I don't want to confuse myself. Fuck it. Who cares? We're just doing 2 of them. You literally can't even see them. So if they're dirty, would we ever know? They won't be dirty. But if they were dirty, would we ever know? You guys would know. Ooh. There we go. Probably this way. Yes. I can see the YouTube chat. Yeah, of course. What's up? Oh, your comment. Is there a difference? So, is there a difference between old cars and new cars? Maybe it's easier to do old cars like from the 80s and 90s. No, it's harder. It's harder to do older cars. Older cars suck. They did a bunch of weird shit on older cars. Butyl, weird chrome trims, windows roll down sideways sometimes. Like, old cars are always way more difficult than modern cars. Also, they're older. So parts are harder to come by. Something happens. Good fucking luck. But car like this, I'll get done in half the time that I would spend on an older car. And this is considered a fairly difficult car as far as modern cars go. Nobody really looks at a VW Jetta and goes, "Yay, I got a Jetta instead of an F-150." So since I can't shrink them on the doors, we're just snapping them a little bit to shrink them there. Don't really have to shrink them very much. Let me grab my tool belt. What are these called? Louvers? Tinting a smart car? Smart cars are really straightforward. I haven't had one in a long time, but I did a few of them. Oh, they were pretty easy. Okay, so this one is going to be for the driver's side. This one's going to be for the passenger side. And then we got a gel bottle. Good. We should be good to go. Or are they censoring you on what you call them? If I could not do the windshields, I would have a much better day with these cars. I don't think I'm going to remove the mirror. And tighter pillars, not much space to tuck it in the bottom. Albeit, as far as Jettas go, this I'd say is like pretty average to on the slightly easier side today. How's it gonna breathe if you put tint through its gills? I'm gonna ask. I don't know. I'm gonna ask the customer. What does he think about that? Let's try and make sure I'm not too high. And we're good. I thought for a minute there the light was catching it funny. When are you gonna tint a car in the Philippines again? We might live stream. We have a van out there now, so that pains me a little bit. But the entire rear is tinted, and the front doors and the windshield need to get tinted on a Toyota La Grande. It's a big ass passenger van for hauling peeps. Sweet. Looks good. Doors on the Jetta. I'm never a fan of the doors on the Jetta. tighter seals, but everything went smooth today. They're notoriously frustrating along the bottom, but if you don't cut your doors super long, you're not really going to have a hard time, as much of a hard time. What's up? I don't know. She might have it in the back room. You can check. She might have it in there because you use it to snip the ropes. Are you going to cut that window without a plotter? Not very easily. You're going to have to try and make a template from the inside. So I would put something, a liner or something else, and stuff it and try and draw a shape. '26 Kia K5. Yep, I've done the K4s and the K5s. Those and the newer model Elantras. Honestly, I'd put the doors all in the same boat. A VW, like, they don't have as tight bottom seals. Here we go. But they're both, like, I'd put them all kind of in the same category as far as just the doors go. Back window's a different story. But K4s, K5s, Elantras, and I want to say there's something else in there too. Sonata? Is that the Hyundai car with the front quarters? I'd put that in that boat too. Did you take that third brake light out? Nope. Third brake light, everything has stayed in. I haven't taken the doors apart. None of it's coming apart. You can reach behind it with a bulldozer. There's a couple other tools I like to use. Bulldozer's the main one, and then a tail fin for the tight corners. Wow! Look at that! Look at how spotless we made that quarter window. We're still gonna use gel. We're still blading it. We're still gonna be fucking nitpicky about this. You're just never gonna see it. Watch, I'll get a message. There's a spot. I'm gonna be like, oh no, where? The windshield? It's gonna be like on the quarter window. Be like, really? Oh, the brake light on a K5. The older ones I did. The newer ones, they don't give me the same access to those bolts anymore. I would take 2 push sticks, a couple pens, and you can shove them in and get the brake light to just stay down. And then I just tuck the film behind it. But it would make it far easier to remove. You can search our Facebook group. Some people have posted about those, but I just don't remember. I want to say some people can like sneak a socket in there and loosen it up. But you could do that a lot easier on the older ones. You can't do that on the newer ones. Not as easily. Alrighty. We're going to do something different today. We are going to tint a windshield. I'm actually going to take a brief stream break. And then we're going to go live again. Because we get to this point and everything just kind of like stagnates and flatlines. And so I'm going to take it, get some of the boring shit out of the way, which is like just putting a towel, covering some stuff up, maybe even cleaning the inside. And then we're going to come back and then shrink and install the windshield. I also want to check on this clipping program. So I will be back. Hang tight. Oops. Oh, they even have a pause? Wow.